Okay, let's start this. All right. What I'm seeing right now in society is that this total emasculation of men, telling men have toxic masculinity and all these verbal gibberish and stuff like that. What people don't understand that this thing all stemmed it from the past, what we have done, how society had denigrated men. All right, there's this thing called ideological subversion, right, where they manipulate people's mind and opinions of how men perceive. There's this right? So it all stemmed down to how, for example, the Roman Empire, how did they fail in the first place, right? When you see through the progression of time, right, you see Roman statue used to have like masculine trait, right? Over time, it just then regressed to a feminine male, right? Like very weak male sculpture, right? Not just in Rome in time, but everywhere else that have these kind of sculptures. They have this dominant male figure, right? Muscle, fighting, and all that stuff, right? Then it just progressed to slouch, laziness, and all that stuff. That's what one thing that led to the downfall of Rome, right? Because Rome doesn't have an army to fight for themselves, right? Then when the invaders came in, they realized that Rome doesn't have enough men that's willing to fight for their causes. So what did the Roman emperor do? They hired other outside forces to protect them. Later on, they ran out of money and funds, right? So they had to give up some properties to some defenders, right? People they hired to defend them. Sooner or later, they caught on. They was like, okay, what the hell happened here? What the hell happened here? Why are you giving all your stuff? Right? Stuff like that. They realize that, okay, so there's something wrong, there's something missing here. Like, if you're such a strong empire, why are you giving off your property, right? Then sooner or later, they find out that Rome isn't as powerful as it was once before. So they, that's how it got invaded, how it got taken over. That's how Rome fell. In a short story, right? I'm not giving you the full detail right now. It's very complex than that, what I'm saying. I'm just giving you the general gist of the matter, right? Now, what you're seeing in society today is that it all started out with the advent of media, right? Back in the 50s, when TV came out, and all these stuff that came out, right? When they show all these men, effeminate men in movies, TV, music, right? Begin to dress flamboyant that isn't resonated to the working man, the blue collar job kind of guy, right? The blue collar job kind of guy is very rugged, gritty, greasy, like rough guy, right? So these men that they portray on TV are really effeminate, androgynous. For example, David Bowie, Mick Jagger, the Beatles. When you compare these figures, right, they're really effeminate compared to the working class men. The working class men is not the same as people from the Rolling Stones, Jim Morrison, right? Jim Morrison, all these flamboyant David Bowies, right? And then it leads to this hippie revolution, right? This hippie revolution where men aren't really men. They're in that time they're really soy boy liberals. That's what it is. Those hippies back in the days. Now fast forward to today. Let's say modern time. Let's say it's the 80s and stuff like that. The new wave came in, right? The new wave introduced these androgynous figures again. These celebrities figures in multimedia. That's how they used to influence these people, right? Per se, like Boy George Michael, Flocks of Seagulls, all these new wave 80s bands, they're kind of flamboyant, androgynous, Prince, right? All these stuff, right? And when you think of it, realistic men does not look like this, does not dress like this, does not talk like this, does not express their feeling like this, right? And later on in the 90s, they started perpetuating this ideology that men that have muscles, lift weights, beat on people are very toxic ideological mind, right? It comes back to my point of ideological subversion. That this is what they used to say, that men are this and that and that. And then when the youth are viewing these kind of things, right? When the youth are viewing these kind of things, they look at it as a negative connotation. They feel alienated. They don't want to be a part of it, right? They don't want to be a part of it. So what do? They shut things out. They feel like they don't belong anywhere, right? They're not musculars. They can't identify themselves with anything. They can't identify themselves with being straight, right? Being heterosexual. They see that thing as a bad thing. So what they do, they try to find a place, a safe harbor. So this is where they come about, where they identify themselves either non-binary, homosexuals, transsexuals, identify themselves as women's, right? Because they feel like this they've been pushed on them that this idea of masculine men is very toxic. That's one of the first step. That's the thing that's really the downfall of society right now, perpetuating that men are very toxic. What do men do in society? Men hold down society big time. Men hold down the family, right? Men hold down the country. Men create all these stuff, right? Now, what you do when you take men out of the picture? When you take men out of the picture, you get broken homes, right? You get broken homes. You get no leadership. You get lack of great leadership, right? Not only that, you take away emotional support, because there's something that men provide that women can't provide, and vice versa. Women can provide something that men can't provide. Now, when you're just missing one piece of that, what does that do? That basically removing one of your foundations of a strong household structures, right? This is where broken family comes along, and it really messed up the kid big time. When the dad is out of the picture, the boy don't have no one to look out to. They get a lot of these feminine energy in them. This is how they identify themselves as these other binary thing, right? When in actuality, they are men. They're supposed to be men. Without a father figure, they feel alienated, right? They feel alienated, and this comes down to the reason why they did this is to destroy society. When you destroy society, that you're easily invaded. You're easily taken over. You're easily conquered, right? Without men fighting these battles, you're going to get invaded and conquered and destroyed. This is what they've been doing this whole time, and people aren't really seeing what's going on right now, right? This is why we have men that's identifying themselves as these figures, right? That the media is pushing this. Not only the media, the schools pushing this, right? The schools are spreading Marxisms, socialisms, right? That everybody are treated fair, when in actuality, men and women are not actually equal at all, right? There's strong suits and there's weak suits when it comes to men and women. Because of that factor, it concluded that men and women are not equal, right? To say that men and women are equal, it doesn't make any sense, right? There's something that men are good at, and there's something that women are good at, right? That's why socialism cannot function. That's why socialism always failed in every country, right? Name a country that didn't fail when it applied socialism. All of them has collapsed. Either they're collapsed or they're in a dystopian nightmare. China, they're a dystopian nightmare. North Korea, dystopian nightmare. Venezuela's dystopian nightmare, right? Romania collapsed, right? They have to bring back capitalism. The only reason why China is in right now is because they adopted an oligarchical society. In actuality, China is not on the principle of socialism. It's a totalitarian oligarchy. All right? They realize socialism doesn't work, so what they do, the government have to be embedded with the companies, right? And rule over these people without any boundaries and rights at all, right? Don't use China as an excuse. But back to my point is, they use this thing called ideological subversion. You destroy them, you demoralize them, right? Put them all these thoughts in their head. Tell them that they're weak, right? Tell them that your sex is a very toxic sex. So they shame you for just being a man. Make a man a buffoon, right? In media, TV, music, make men extremely flamboyant. When that's not men are supposed to be. Pushing all these narrative on TV. These companies are in it as well. What you see right now, all right? They're perpetuating this stereotype that men are weak, right? And then as a guy, if I see that, I mean, I'm not I don't identify as any of them. I'm a straight male. But anyway, to some of these kids, they see that and they think, oh, I don't want to be a part of that. I feel alienated. You know what? I'll just be a girl. I identify as a girl. I'm lost, right? It contributes to broken homes, right? When a woman, and that leads to feminism too. When a woman don't listen to the man get aggravated, and what do they do? You're not supporting your man at all, and what do they do? Your man bounce on you, that leads to a broken home. Now the child is, now you're a single mother because you're not cooperating with each other. Single homes leads to a broken home. A broken home will ultimately destroy the child. Right? A child needs both male figure, a strong male figure, not one of those beta soy guy figure. They don't understand the situation of the matter. Right? Those male figures in the liberal household, most of the guys that come out of that are really have a lot of psychological problems. They don't have a lot of strong male figure to look up to. Right? So it all stems down to the male and how the male been raised up, right? If you're a guy who raised up by a beta father, and you married, you're gonna be a beta father as well because you're not being taught the right proper thing to do or say to a person, how to communicate as a dominant figure in your household, how to stay strong, how to keep things in order. That's what guys do. Guys keep things in order. When it comes to guys in a group, right? We like to keep things in order. We don't like to fight for the heck of fighting. That's not what we do. The guys will avoid confrontation as much as possible. But when they do have to fight, they'll fight. Right? Guys will put their life, their body on the line for their family, no matter how big or small the guy is compared to his opponent. Right? A small guy are willing to fight for his family compared to a bigger guy. Right? That's what it is. And to demoralize men, saying they're weak, they're toxic, that's gonna only alienate a guy who's come from a broken home even more, because he saw his father abusing his mother, that he don't want a part of it. That's why he grew up hating his father. The kid's supposed to look up to their father, right? So how the heck the kid's supposed to look up to a father when the father's beating on the mother? That's gonna alienate the kid more and more, and he want to identify to be a part of the father. Then he don't take both sides, and that's what's wrong with most kids. They see that their father are abusing their mother, but again, then they only see him from one side of the picture, and they're not asking the father why is he behaving like this? Why is he doing this stuff? You got to take it for both sides. Some of these stuff is not necessarily the man's fault. Sometimes it's the woman's fault as well. And they don't understand that. It takes two. And the kids don't know. The kids are kids. You can't blame on the kid. He only see for what he see, but he don't understand the dynamic of the situation, the relationship between the male and the female. It's all this conflict. We need to get along with each other, stop fighting, stay together for the kids, tell the kids that, everything will be all right. Stop trying unstabilize the home. I'm not saying the word unstabilize. Stop trying to create drama for no reason for the kids, so the kids won't harbor this anger feeling against the father. The father's supposed to lead the kid, all right, whether it's a daughter or a son. All right, the father will lead the daughter to find a man as soon as possible, because the thing's very important. The thing that's an enemy to a woman is time. Women have little time on this world. So that's why it's best advised for them to get married and have a family as much as possible. Because if they don't, they'll be miserable, sad, and can't find anybody. Because guys, I hate to be honest, guys like young, fertile women. Alright? This is why there's all these women out there that doesn't have any man because of their old ages. What kind of guy want that? They want a younger woman because they're more fertile and more attractive. This is why it's so important for women to find a man at a woman to find a man at a younger age, because time is very limited to a woman. Time is not very limited to a man, but yet again, the father's supposed to be there for the man to teach him what to do when he's young, so he won't mess up in life. It's supposed to guide them direction. At the end of the day, men and women, husband and wife, are supposed to provide direction for the kid, right? If you're missing one element of those two parties, you're gonna mess everything up, and people don't understand that. People don't understand that. Isn't that it goes for every race, right? Every race, every background. You need two parent household. And people don't understand that. And it leads to my point when it comes to the emasculation of men. This is why we're having all these transsexuals out there right now. Because look at the father figure. Look at the Nashville, thing that happened, right? Where is the father? Where is the? I mean, they showed the mother, but where is the father? What is his role in his family? And they don't discuss that. A father figure is very important in this household, in a strong household, and they don't understand. It all leads to back in the realm. They tell you this. I can't find the video, but I'll mention this one lady who explained it. She's a start liberal, but she admitted it too. When you distort the man, you distort society. All right, a man is the very foundation of a structured household. This is why men is so important. This is why you shouldn't shame men, berate men, say men is toxic, men are bad. Men need a father figure. Father figure provide direction for the child, regardless daughter or son. And they don't understand that. And they don't understand why are these alphabet people are doing this thing, like identify this stuff was not prevalent before the advent of television. Television and media have screwed up a lot of things. Right? If there was no TV at all, right? There's no TV, internet, and the social media. This thing was not widespread as it is right now. Looking back years ago, decades ago, was this prevalent back in the days? No, because there was no media like this at all to influence a child's mind. Nowadays, parents usually just give iPad to a kid and let the kid be the babysitter. Take them to school. School also messed up the kid's mind too with their liberal ideology, right? Instead of raising their own kid, they use the school as a babysitting device, not realizing what the kids are learning at the school. This is why people are so jacked up. This is why I'm more favorable of homeschooling. Open your own business, right? Open your own business to have the capability of homeschooling your kid. That's why I believe. Open your own. So if you have a 9 to 5, try to let one parent household to stay home watch the kid, right? When the kid get older, then try to transition to public schooling. But I wouldn't suggest that at all. But in my opinion, homeschool your kid and start your own business. That's what I think. But anyway, I digress. Stem down to what my first point is, that the reason why men are like this is because the ideological subversion, right? Demoralizing, normalizing, and this is what leads to the dysfunction in the family. Dysfunctional family that's going on right now. Kids are on the street when they should be in bed learning, right? And a parent is supposed to teach the kids what's what. And they're not doing that. This is why we have these outraged parents out there. Because if it was for these lousy parents teaching the kid what's right and wrong, these great parents wouldn't be out in arms saying all these stuff. But anyway, I digress. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again.